family that came to me, they had a girl who was 12 years old. 12 years old. She was Nebuch, it's a frum family. She was already Michal Shabbos B'Farhesia. She was sexually active. She would walk outside, mamish, dressed. She looked like she was 18, 19 years old. She went to a festival, Rahman al-Itzlan. She was with 5 men. It was horrible. The therapist that they went to was one of the top therapists, could not do any therapy with her because the parents would fight with her. By the time they got to the therapist's office, there was such tension, 45 minutes of therapy consisted of just trying to get her to calm down and keep them in 2 different parts of the room and break them apart. So the therapist said she's going to have to go away, be locked up for SA. Right, and to be in a facility maybe 9 months to 12 months, which is going to cost like $120,000 because there's no other way to get her to deal with herself. She's totally out of control. She was drinking. She was drinking to the point of passing out. She punched her parents. She was violent whenever they tried to even, like, the father was a big guy. He walked into her room. She says, "Get the beep out of my room." And he's like, "No, this is my house," right? Before TP, when things used to be normal. Right? And she slugged him. This little girl slugged him. So he threw her on the floor and police came and Shomer and Atzala. And this was their life with all their other kids for day after day, week after week, month after month. Okay, and they came to me and we started doing TP, which is the total opposite of everything they were doing until now. And they thought it makes no sense, except you'll hear why they did it. But in the beginning, they did everything that I told them, but there were certain things that they could not do. Now you have to realize, when I make a recommendation to you, as long as your Rav says it's mutter, you're mechuyev to do it. Because it's not meant to be comfortable, it's meant to work. We want to get her out of pikuach nefesh. This girl was clearly pikuach nefesh. She would walk out at night looking like Hashem Yerachim, what she looked like, and go. And the parents couldn't stop her. I'm talking about before they came to me, couldn't stop her, and she's out there, and anybody couldn't pick her up, and she was not wearing clothing. And she was not careful. She went on trains. She was pikuach nefesh mamish, with very little hope, according to the top professionals. They did TP. But they couldn't buy her the mini skirts. They couldn't supply that because how could you, and we understand the normal thinking, how could I take the gun and give your child a gun? How can I give her, it wasn't a halacha issue, the Rav said it's not a halacha issue, but how can I be the one to supply? But I told them that she feels disconnected from you. She feels that she thinks that you regret having her as a child, right? Which they admitted was true. And we have to reverse all of that, right? And this is what's going to help keep her, be'ezus Hashem, of course, keep her happy and healthy. They couldn't do it. I remember where I was in the old Home Sweet Home on PN 16th, and I told them, hold on one second. I ran across the street, was a store called Conway. I ran into Conway. I asked, I don't know what the guy was thinking. I'm a pretty Jewish-looking guy. And I ran, and I'm like, where's the ladies' clothing? And he tells me to go to ladies' clothing. I went in, and I bought a couple of mini skirts. There was nobody in the store, actually. I got lucky. But I just grabbed stuff, a couple of shorts and mini skirts and a couple of tank tops. Within 10 minutes, I bought 6 items. And I was back across the street. They're like, where were you? I said, here you go. They said, first of all, it was like $6 each. I guess there wasn't that much clothing, but it was really cheap. It was $36. And he said, okay, let me at least pay you. I said, no, it's my tzedakah money. I believe that this is medication. So they brought it home with them. The last time that she went to a festival, Nebuch, she was with 5 men who took advantage of her. Probably didn't know her age, but still, right? 5 men. Goyim. Thursday night, that week, right after I saw them, she told them, by the way, I'm going tomorrow, Friday, I'm going to a festival. They said they knew not to react like they wanted to react, and they already were trained a little bit. They said, oh, okay, we hope you have fun. And they just went into their room. She went into her room, they went into their room, and they broke down and cried. How dangerous in physical, emotional, spiritual, sick. Now, they knew they couldn't stop her because last time they tried to stop her, she went. They knew that I'm trying to get her to not have to go be put away in a facility with a very low success rate for $120,000. Very low success rate, but they had no choice. We're trying to do something. No one has an eitzah. Everybody's stuck what to do. And they're sitting there and they're crying. And the mother says, hang on. Avi said that there's some kind of a segula over here, right? We should give her the mini skirts. They went through it. They found one. Apparently, I'm a pretty decent shopper. I got lucky, I don't know how, and they took this mini whatever, and they wrote on a card, you should all have, I'm sure you all have a bunch of extra cards, for emergencies, and they wrote, here's a little something to help you enjoy your weekend to the max. How twisted is that? See, people who don't understand TP think we're nuts. We're not. We're trying to save kids that can't be saved. We want them to think that we really support you going undercover, so they should understand that I have a tati and mommy, because years later the kids will tell you, I was so crazy and you never dropped me. You were always there for me. There's no other way. Nobody ever found another way. So listen to this insane story. This is insanity. Here's a little something, it was taka, that was true, to help you enjoy. We want you to enjoy, right? To the max. They called me the next day. They said, we don't know exactly what happened. We don't know if it's because of the gift. We don't know. But she didn't go to the festival. She ended up staying home for the first time ever since this whole story. And after the meal Friday night that she stayed by, the mother went and sat by the couch, and she came down, sat next to her mother, and put her kepi down on her mother's lap. And her mother spent an hour stroking her hair, saying, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. She got her kid back. She got her kid back. And this girl went better and better and better. Within 3 months, the therapist who was here called me up and said, Avi, I'm doing therapy on this girl. Because instead of fighting with her mother, one time they fought so bad that by the time they got to the therapist's office, it was in Manhattan, the girl slammed the door, ran over to a vendor and bought a tray frank and went to her mother, in her face, ate the tray for Frankfurter. When her mother was trying to be normal, to all those normal ideas and therapists and rabbanim that are trying to be normal, it doesn't work. They were making her insane. Now, she comes to therapy with her clothing that her parents bought her, but she's doing therapy. And guess what? The therapist can testify. She was here. The therapy worked. And within 3 years, she went to a Jewish, very modern Orthodox school, because she was a smart girl, like so many of our kids are, and she didn't want to have a tznius problem, so they found a really modern school. And it was still hard for her, because even Goyim don't dress as bad as our kippelach when they're spiraling. But she was able to stelzu to the very, very modern rules. And she did well in school. And then she got better, and frummer, and frummer, and frummer. And 6 years after they came to me, when she was 18, she went to Eretz Yisrael and learned full-time in a regular seminary. She was learning 10 hours a day. She went back for Shana Bet. Is that what it's called? And now she's in Shidduchim. A lovely, sweet, smart, tzniistika, frum girl. Thank you. So when I tell you to buy the stuff, it's not because I have no stock at the miniskirt stock market. I don't care. I'm not on the side of that. I want you to save the kids' lives. I want you to get under their skin. She knows, my tati bought this for me. That's the medicine for her. So next year in the summer, she won't walk out like that. It's baduku manusa. It's baduku manusa. This medicine is tried and proven, and it makes sense. Because even the girls on the street that look horrible, you can tell what they do and how they act. You can tell who feels I have a tati and who feels I don't have a tati. Who feels I have a mommy and who feels I don't have a mommy. Even the goyim, you can see, even the most priestestic of people, there's a connection, a family connection, and that's the influence that will cause her to behave the best that she could behave at this time. You will get the best out of her. And then in Mitzvah Hashem, they get healthier and healthier. They look back and they say one day, all of a sudden they get healthy and like, I wore that? How did I wear that? You don't even wear that to the beach, and I wore that to my brother's bar mitzvah? They get the piercings. Yeah, I have so many. I've done this hundreds of times. You take them for the piercings, and they any piercing that Tati is there, smiling and piercing the thing. Piercings are not bad. Racheli men who had piercings. A news band. We had over here one of the kids, one of the skips. He was about 10 years old, and he was in class, and the teacher, Chassidish teacher, said that Ruchli Meinet got a news band. Rachel Imenu had a nose. He said, "Man Schwester hat auch a Nusband." My sister also has a nose ring. It's okay, we'll deal with that. But there's a skula that when you put it in, it comes out much faster. There's no question about it. Yeah. Right? When you put it in, it comes out faster. That's the idea. So it's not because I want you to be buying stuff. It's not a mishagas. They need to feel supported and supplied. Of course, you ask your Rav. We don't do anything without a Rav. Your Rav will tell you, Avada, you should do it. I will tell you, I believe that that is the safest and best treatment that you can do. Vitamins, vitamins, and vitamins, and vitamins. You do thousands of vitamins. You're mistaking the part of them that's broken with Siyata D'Shmaya. It's an understanding, like based on what I said before, you can't heal her neshama in the winter as much as you can in the summer. Because the worst things are, and you're there supplying and being there for her, that proves on a deeper subconscious level of her nefesh that my parents are really proud of me, really like me, the me that I am. Therefore, we look forward to summer. Don't avoid it. Because the medicine that you want the chuppah. We're not playing around over here. We don't want to avoid and end up with a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old living in wherever, never got married. We want that chuppah, that frum chuppah. So you're looking, what is the best way? This is a little bit focused. Don't avoid. Look for ways to heal your child. You can heal your daughters more in the summer than in the winter. If acceptance heals them, if acceptance allows the flow of love to heal them, what proves more acceptance? In the winter when they have baggy clothes on? No. In the summer with their nebuch getting a suntan all over, and they're walking outside and you put your arm around them, B'ni b'chayri, BT b'chayri, Rifki. They know my father really, now think about it. Some people say, really, Ad Khan, you're supposed to go? What happened to this kid? I'm looking around, you all are super religious. You know how much of a brach, how much of a break it needs to happen that your kid really wants to walk around like that? To that kid, yeah, they want acceptance on that level. People don't chap. They say, I have to accept so much. No, you only have to accept as bad as the kid needs you to accept. You have to accept the person. So when the girl goes to a skirt that's at the knee, you just have to accept at the knee. But when their brokenness is coming out with 4 inches above the knee, then you have to accept 4 inches above the knee. Because that's who they are. And they want to be accepted. They need to be accepted as they are in order for them to be at your Seder. Because if you don't accept me, even though you would have accepted a mini skirt, but mine is a mini, and that you can't accept. You know, the mini, that it's so small that if it was any shorter, it would be a belt. Like you're buying the skirts in the belt section. That mini, right? But if that's who I am, Nebuch, right? That's who I am, and you don't accept me, even though the parents not doing TP were very kind, and they say, look, we're really trying. You know, we wanted 4 inches below the knee, she wanted 4 inches below the waist, and we're settling for 3 inches above the knee. Like, work with us. They're missing the point. It's not a negotiation. You negotiate with a terrorist. You save your child. It's not a negotiation. Because when you feel comfortable, you're at my Seder. You chapping? She's at your Seder because she felt comfortable. You don't feel comfortable if you have to shtel tzu. So we drop the shtel tzu or shtel tzi, right, or conform. We drop it because it's not helping us. And people go crazy. Well, shouldn't they have to shtel tzi? No. They will conform more to our rules. Look, she was at the Seder. She conformed. We can manipulate. It's a bad word. It sounds vicious, sounds manipulative. But we're manipulating the situation. But not in a vicious way because we care about them. We're making them comfortable because they really want to be home. So therefore, you supply the way that they are right now. And you can only do that when they show you how they are right now. And when you dig deeper and deeper and deeper, and you look for it, a lot of us, especially fathers, we'd rather avoid this whole thing. You know, we've got a lot on our minds, and if I could avoid it, I'd rather not. If somehow somebody else miraculously, you know, whatever, I'll be very relieved. Don't be relieved. Because we're here for 2 years from now. We're here for 4 years, and we're fighting for our kids' lives, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You want your kid to be from? This is what you got to do. You got to look, what is the maximum I can tell you, I see the difference. There are parents who do the maximum, they're more siyata d'shmaya. As is Hashem, I mean, we don't control. Hashem controls everything. But we have to do and do and do and do and do and boost and boost and boost and boost. And then they want to be with us. They're comfortable being with us. And that could be the difference between who knows what. Being at the Pesach Seder or not being at the Pesach Seder. Shavuos, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, we don't know. So we're pulling them out by making them feel. So look for it. Look for that thing. Don't let them hide. You have to sing, don't hide from me, right? Don't hide from me. I want the real you. Because if I could say I like you, and I'm looking at the real you, at the Mem Tesh Aritum, the lowest, that means that the kid knows, I don't know how, but somehow they really do like me. They like me. I must be likable. They love me. I must be lovable. As a kid told me, whose parents are not doing TP, he said, my parents don't love me. Maybe they do technically, but I don't feel it. And if I can't feel that my parents love me, you know what that means? I am not worthy of being loved. I am not lovable. And that's why he tried to kill himself last week. So we're playing for keeps. Kid almost died. Major surgeries. Tried to kill himself. Because he doesn't have parents that make him feel that I am happy that I got you. Al hanar hazeh lo yispalalti. No, al hanar hazeh hispalalti. You can get that. That's a very nice saying to get as a dog tag. Al hanar, on this nar. You could think that, okay? This nar hazeh hispalalti. They have to understand that, just like we want Hashem to say that He's happy with us, even though we're not so ay. You know what the Vilna Gaon says? Every midah that we're mechuyev to do, Hashem does, He keeps kol hatayra kula. So we're supposed to be misameach b'chelkoi. Right? We have to be happy with our lot. How is Hashem happy with His lot? Hashem has everything. Says the Gra, that Hashem's chelik ki chelik Hashem amoy. We are His chelik. And Hashem says, I am going to be misameach b'chelki. Klal Yisrael, maybe we're not like we used to be. They used to have, much higher, holier. We're Hashem's chelik. He's misameach b'chelkai. So we have to have midah keneged midah. We have to work the same with our children, and we have to be misameach with our chelik. This is the child that Hashem wants us to have for our avodah. We believe that this is just as much about us as it is about them. For our tikkun amidus, for our shviras amidus, for our proving whatever it is that Hashem wants us to prove, which I think is obvious that in order to get out of galus, Hashem wants us to prove, to make a tikkun on the sinas chinam that destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. The only way is ahavas chinam. Say, I love you for just no reason. You're my child. I love you. I love you. And also, we see that it heals them. And that has to motivate you. Nahar dinur is the river of fire. And I think a lot of parents feel like that's what TP really should be called. It's very painful. It's a river of fire that you have to cross through. And it hurts. It's frustrating. It's painful. We put more kaiches in this kid than 20 other kids, more money in this kid than, well, for you, 100 other kids. Okay, but we got to believe that Hashem wants us to save our children, and He'll give us the Yata D'Shmaya, and He'll make a cheshbon somehow, how this all makes sense. That's why He gave you this child. There's no return policy. If someone could figure out a return, like Amazon return policy, no problem. But I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So this is not a mistake. And once you can accept that, then it's like a release. It's like, hey, hang on. I can't control who I get. This is the child that I was given. This child was hurt. Nebuch, we know that they're hurting, and they're broken, and they're lost, and disconnected from the world, and they're floating away from us, and they're floating away from life, and they're floating away from Hashem. Not a mistake. Obviously, I did something real bad in a previous lifetime, and Hashem wants us to fix it. Or Hashem thinks really that we are the ones who are going to bring Mashiach and save the youth. Like the Zohar HaKadosh says, there's no greater mitzvah. More than davening, Hashem wants us to save these kids. More than learning, that's what it says. It says, and using the tools of Aaron HaKohen. I feel so bad for the people who are missing out on this. Such a befeish Zohar HaKadosh. Only by Oyev Shalom, Rayedev Shalom, Oyev Esabriyas. That's it. That's the tools that we have to use to run after the sinners. That's what the Zohar says. And that's what you're doing. With Siyata D'Shmaya, of course.